ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Now let's go with table number 1. Now when we take the scientist name as well as the discovery, let's continue with that. The scientist name and the common name. The scientist name, let us make it as a discovery. So let us go with the history part. Now who are the scientists, what they are discovering, we are discussing. Now let us make it as Knoll and Rusk. A combination of the two people, a combination of the two scientists. Today they have given a wonderful discovery. It's nothing but electron microscope. Today we just gone to the extent of ultra microscope. In ultra microscope we can find out everything in detail about the molecular level of cell and tissue. What we can see, what is there in the cell, what is there in the tissue, we can see very clearly now with the advanced techniques of the microscope like ultra microscope, nano microscope. But before ultra, before nano, the most important discovery has made, that is nothing but electron microscope with the effort of the two people, Knoll and Rusk. Now apart from this, as we discuss about the people here, mainly we can talk about Joseph Priestley. Now Joseph Priestley, they are the one who has studied about oxygen theory, or we can take protoplasm theory. Protoplasmic theory, or we say protoplasm theory. So who are the people? Knoll and Rusk. What they studied? Electron microscope. Joseph Priestley, what they have studied? Protoplasm theory. So remember these two aspects. Now let us move on to the next one. So what we have to discuss here, the universal scientific name with what we call across the world is a universal scientific name, and let us make it as a common name. For example, day to day life, let us take Solanum tuberosum. Solanum tuberosum is nothing but the scientific name. What do you call this? It's commonly called as potato. What do you call this? It's commonly called as what? Potato. Solanum tuberosum is nothing but the scientific name. It's commonly referred as potato. Similarly, Solanum melangina. So if you observe here, melangina we call. Now if you take this is commonly referred as brinjal. If you observe so clearly here genus name is same, here also genus name is same. But what makes the difference here is nothing but the species name. Here if you take tuberosum, this is indicating potato, and if you call the species name as melangina, that represents brinjal, both having the genus name Solanum and Solanum. So what you have to remember clearly here, Solanum tuberosum is nothing but the scientific name, and the common name is this, and melangina whenever you represent common name, this you have to remember. So let us make it as more two here. Solanum is the same, but only difference occurs with the species name. For your pronunciation check, I will repeat again. Tuberosum, nothing but potato. Melangina, it's nothing but what we call brinjal. Now let us go with the continuation of this. What we have discussed will come under the root, and we discussed about stem modifications including leaf, and now we are in the discussion about inflorescence. Earlier if you look at the scenario, we have discussed about the types of root. What the types of root we have discussed? Taproot system and fibrous root system. Followed by we discussed about the modifications, how root is modified to do different sort of functions. Followed by we discussed about 3 types of stem, subaerial stem, maybe in some you find underground, maybe in some you find completely a aerial stem. We discussed about all 3 types of stem modifications and leaf including leaf modifications. Now we are in the discussion about inflorescence. Now if you look at, let us come back to the root, then later we will continue with the inflorescence. Now if you look at the root part, what you can see very clearly, we find what are called dicots and monocots. Very clearly what we find, dicots and monocots. Now what you can do is take one completely a plain paper, white paper, and let us start drawing the TS of dicot root, or we say anatomy of root. Earlier if you recollect it, we discussed about morphology. Morphology speaks about the study of external characteristics of the plant. So far what we discussed all will come under morphological characters. What is a root, root modifications, stem modifications, leaf modifications. Externally we can see with our naked eye. So they are called as what? Morphological characters. They are called as what? Morphological characters. Now what you can do? Let us go with the study of anatomical characters. What is anatomy? When we study inside organs, internal organs, it is called as anatomy. When we study external organs, it is referred as morphology. So you completed study of the root external characters. Now let us talk about anatomy of root. Anatomy means exactly we speak about internal parts, internal what you call internal characteristics of the root. Now take the root into your hand and cut it with the blade and keep it under microscope. Then what you can see is the same thing we are going to draw, that is nothing but TS. What is the meaning of TS? A transverse section of dicot root. So when you take the root, especially from the dicot plant, now I hope you have the clear clarity between dicots and monocots. Take the dicot root, most familiar one, take the dicot root, cut it with the blade, half section, transverse section you make it, put it on the microscope, then you can see what is called a transverse section of dicot root. Now what you can see in this, we say, now you can take completely a plain paper, a vertical white paper, start drawing along with me. Outermost layer, what we find in the anatomy, it is referred as epidermis. Outermost single layer with the, you can see now the cells how they are arranged. What is the shape of the cells here? Rectangular. The shape is nothing but what? Rectangular. Rectangular shape of the cells which are compactly arranged, meaning here no intercellular space. All cells are compactly arranged one after the other. Very tightly they are arranged. So we call that arrangement as compact arrangement. Rectangular barrel shaped cells, they appear as the outermost layer. Generally in any diagram, if you see in any structure, what is the function of the outermost layer? Obviously we know that that is meant for protection. Outermost layer, that is mainly meant for what? Protection. So we find outermost single barrel shaped cells, rectangular barrel shaped cells, outermost layer it is called as epidermis. Now below the epidermis, we find arrangement of cells. We find arrangement of cells. Now you can see I am drawing a spherical or circular cells. Upper one we say compact arrangement, but down if you see, here and there we find intercellular spaces. Now you can see these are nothing but parenchymatous cells with intercellular spaces. Now we call the second layer as cortex. What do we call the upper layer? Epidermis. What we call the second layer? Cortex. What is the difference here? Outermost layer rectangular cells and the compactly arranged. Just inner to that we find cortical cells. Cortex are nothing but they are made up of parenchyma cells. They are made up of parenchyma cells. Later we will discuss, I think lower classes you studied, we find the cells into 3 categories. What are they? Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Don't worry, we will discuss these things again, but here you have to remember cortex is made up of parenchymatous cells. Guys, now you can see very clearly the diagram. What you can see here, all are spherical, circular cells. What do you find in between two cells? You find some large spaces, and these spaces are called intercellular spaces. So, what you find here? Intercellular spaces. So, that is the second layer called as the cortex. Now, below the cortex we find another layer, same like upper one. This is referred as endodermis. This is referred as endodermis. What you can see here, after cortex we find the third layer of cells. Here also you find rectangular compactly arranged cells. It is called as endodermis. Now, if you look at the diagram so clearly, guys, epidermis I kept 1 star mark, cortex 1 star mark. Coming to endodermis, here I kept 3 star marks. Very important. So, what we have to study importantly about endodermis? Now, look at the diagram very clearly. On each cell, I am drawing very thick layer. Very thick layer. Now, thick layer, it's because of the depositions of the some materials. What materials we find? We find the materials such as suberin and lignin. Now, you can see total endodermis layer, it contains a thick waxy layer. It's because of what? It's because of lignin and suberin depositions. Yes guys, now you can see. Guys, if you see epidermis, compact arrangement, no doubt. Coming to cortex, spherical cells with intercellular spaces, fine. And what you call cells? Parenchyma. But coming down, if you see, here you find a thick walled layer. What you call that? Endodermis. Here I kept 3 star marks. Here you need to pay more attention. What is the need for star marks here? Here we expect the questions. Most of the questions from the root, they come from endodermis. So, here you need to stress the points. Here you need to pay more attention. So, listen carefully. What do you find here? Surrounding to the endodermis, we find thick waxy layer, and that is called lignin suberin deposition. That is because of lignin suberin depositions. Because of thick waxy layers here, I say endodermis is impermeable to water. It is impermeable to water. Very important. As this thick waxy layer itself is also called as Casparian strips. Very clearly I am writing here the spelling, note down clearly, Casparian strips, or we call Casparian bands, one another same. What do you call this? Casparian strips, or we call Casparian bands. Now again I say here we find endodermis layer. Endodermis layer contains thick waxy layer, and that contains lignin and suberin depositions, impermeable to water. Casparian strips and Casparian bands are present, and that does not allow the water to go from down layers of the cell to the upper layers of the cell. Alright, now let us go down here. Now what you can see further? Now within the endodermis we find a vascular bundle. What you can find? This is called as vascular bundle. Now why am I writing this side? Because we have lots more to study on this side. Let us see what you call this. This is vascular bundle, and the total part of vascular bundle itself from the endodermis itself is called stele. Total anatomy part divided into 3 zones. The first zone itself is called epidermis, again I write, and the second zone itself is called cortex, and further down part what you can see left out here itself is called as stele part. Now guys, what is involved in steel part? Steel part, this includes endodermis, this is endodermis, and including what is called vascular bundle. Steel part includes endodermis and vascular bundles. Total anatomy, what you find here, has 3 zones. Okay, what is the upper zone? Epidermis. What is the middle zone? Cortex. What is the inner zone? Steel. Now steel includes what? Endodermis and vascular bundle. Let us go inside vascular bundle and see what you can find here. From the beginning, you know it very well, vascular bundle contains xylem and phloem. Now let us see how they are arranged very clearly here. Now if you look at here, protoxylem, I draw very small one. This is called, here you need to keep an attention because you don't know this aspect. You have to remember the smaller one which I have drawn towards endodermis, it's smaller in size, it's called protoxylem. Why do you think it is called proto? Proto means first formed. First, that's why I am representing with the small size. First formed cell, I am representing with the smaller size. So, if you look at the circle, all together we find a smaller cells like this. Now you can see our smaller cells I have drawn on the 4 corners. What is protoxylem? As I have written here, first formed xylem cells. First formed xylem cells, it's called protoxylem. Later what happens? The xylem cells are getting produced here, the size is increasing and you can see a larger cell in the center. Larger cell means the one which is produced in the lastly. So, I am just giving a shape like this. So, you can see the larger one and bigger size that is formed at the end. Okay. Now, the larger one which is formed later, it's called metaxylem. It's called metaxylem. Metaxylem means later formed xylem. Why we call this as metaxylem? Why? Because it's completely developed cell, a matured cell, a completely formed cell. That's why I have drawn with the bigger cells, with the bigger size. Now this matured one, completely formed xylem cells itself is called metaxylem. That means later formed xylem. What do you call this? Later formed xylem. First formed xylem is called protoxylem. Later formed one is called metaxylem. Right? Now in between what you find? Now if you look at alternative to this. So if you look at in the picture, I am drawing alternatively a smaller parenchymatous cells. And these smaller parenchymatous cells, what we find here, now we call them, we represent them as phloem. We represent them as what? Phloem. Right. Alternatively, what you find here, these alternative cells is called as what? Phloem. Right, I repeat again now, look at carefully the diagram. The first formed ones, the smaller cells are called protoxylem. All of you should remember, xylem is the one which is involved in conduction of water and minerals. Xylem takes water and minerals and give to the plant. So within the plant we find xylem and phloem. Xylem is involved in conduction of food and water and minerals. Phloem is involved in conduction of food materials. So if you take protoxylem means first formed xylem, metaxylem means later formed xylem. Okay, so remember proto means first formed one, this we are representing with the smaller size, and metaxylem is the later formed one, this we are representing somewhat with the bigger size. Now you can see protoxylem and metaxylem. Now all together how many xylem strands we find? Now if you look at in the diagram, especially we are discussing dicot root, how many xylem strands you find? 4 we have drawn. Such kind of condition is called tetrarch. I will write there, later I will write. So how many xylem strands? 4 xylem strands. It is called tetrarch. Alternative to this xylem, we find a layer of cells. These cells are called phloem Phloem is involved in conduction of food materials. So, xylem and phloem are present alternative to each other. Such kind of vascular bundle is called radial vascular bundle. Why? We are going radially like this. Xylem, phloem, and then xylem, phloem. So, you can draw radial. Radial means circular. So, such type of vascular bundles are called as radial vascular bundles. So, I call 4 are the tetrarch and this is called radial vascular bundle. Now, in the center we find again group of parenchymatous cells. This group of parenchymatous cells are called pith or medulla. Centermost cells what we find here, now they are called pith or medulla. Centermost cells are called as what? Pith or medulla. Right. Now, in between xylem and phloem we find again a group of parenchymatous cells. Actually you need to fill completely. 1 second. What you find in between xylem and phloem, these cells are generally called as conjunctive tissue. These cells are generally called as conjunctive tissue. So, I am drawing with black color to differentiate. Now, between xylem and phloem, I am drawing a parenchymatous cells. Now, these parenchymatous cells what we find here, now these are called conjunctive tissue. What we call? We call them as conjunctive tissue. So, here I am drawing with a different color and now fully filled with all this. Same parenchymatous cells we will find here, but we call the centermost part this as pith or medulla. Now, what you can see here, now you call this tissue as conjunctive tissue. How do you define a conjunctive tissue? So, if any question comes on the paper, what is a conjunctive tissue? Then we say the tissue which is present between a xylem and phloem itself is referred as conjunctive tissue. So, you can define very clearly here. What do we can write? Very clearly we say the tissue present between xylem and phloem itself is called as what? Conjunctive tissue. Very, very important. Wherever I keep 3 star marks, you need to stress the point over there and you need to understand that's very, very important. So, where are the 3 star marks? I kept 3 star marks for endodermis. Most stressing point, you need to stress over there. You need to study and revise number of times. This is question getting point. Similarly, I even have written 3 star marks for conjunctive tissue. Conjunctive tissue is very, very important. Why conjunctive tissue is very important? Why we need to keep 3 star marks here? Because this conjunctive tissue is involved in secondary growth. Let me write here. So, I write here, I will write the note points separately. I hope you got it now. Now, let us describe about vascular bundle in this case. So, I write here vascular bundle. What are the things we need to note down about vascular bundles? So, what is the first condition you have to remember is exarch. The type of vascular bundles what we represent in the diagram, it represents the condition called exarch. What meant by exarch here? Now, look at the diagram carefully. What I have drawn on the diagram here? Now, see carefully here. The first one what I have drawn is protoxylem. So, I write here protoxylem. Here X means protoxylem. Where is the location of protoxylem? The protoxylem is towards periphery, towards an outer side, not in the center, not in the inner side. Where it is present? Towards periphery. This is nothing but periphery. So, what you find first cell? This is protoxylem. This is protoxylem and this is protoxylem and here is protoxylem. Where is the protoxylem is lying here? The protoxylem is lying towards periphery. See here, I differentiated with the smaller cell. What I have written the smaller cell here, the smaller cell what I have drawn here, the smaller cell what we are taking an arrow mark here, it's nothing but protoxylem. It's nothing but what? Protoxylem. And the center larger one what we have drawn here, it's called as what? Metaxylem. So I wrote protoxylem is towards periphery. Now you can tell me where is metaxylem? Metaxylem, remember all of you, this is towards center. Now look at the diagram carefully and observe. Protoxylem is in the periphery we have drawn, this is protoxylem, and the center larger one what I have drawn is metaxylem. Where is the location of metaxylem? Exactly towards center, this is metaxylem. So protoxylem is modifying and producing more cells and forming what? Metaxylem. Such type of arrangement is called exarch. Guys, if you observe here, again I kept 3 star marks. Very important condition for all of us to remember. When you see for anatomy of any part of the plant, you have to look for carefully whether it is exarch or it is endarch. Endarch condition I will give you later, but what we are discussing here, exarch. So what is exarch means? You have to remember, closing your eyes you have to remember, protoxylem is towards periphery and metaxylem is center. That's very important condition, common character which you have to remember. So this all and what I am writing, let us take it as note points. Note points keep star marks. Why? Because note points are nothing but the question getting points where you need to stop and you need to revise number of times. You need to stuck here and you need to keep it very carefully in your mind. So you need to stress these points so carefully when your preparation is going on. Such points we write note points, nothing but question getting points. What is the one condition here? Exarch. And then other condition is, again I am keeping 3 star marks here, tetrarch. What's the meaning of tetrarch here? Now you can see there is an occurrence of 4 xylem strands. Of course, alternatively even you find what is called phloem. When you say 4 xylem strands, automatically you have to understand that alternatively you find 4 phloem strands. But mainly we take into consideration of xylem strand condition. So we say tetrarch. Tetrarch means how many xylem strands? There are 4 xylem strands. How many? 4 xylem strands. And remember here when you take the dicot root, just let me come back to the point, dicot root. Here whenever you see dicot root, the most important differentiating character is nothing but tetrarch. Dicot root, how do we differentiate from the monocot root? Dicot root means whenever I ask you closing your eyes, you should say yes, this is tetrarch. Then what about monocot root? Monocot root we say hexarch. Hexarch or polyarch means 6 or many xylem strands. Coming to tetrarch condition, here we find only 4 xylem strands. Dicot root, what is the difference between dicot root and monocot root? Whenever this kind of question arises, very strongly you have to remember in your mind, dicot root is tetrarch and monocot root is polyarch. Polyarch means many xylem strands. That diagram I will show you later. But here this is very important, tetrarch, right? And what type of vascular bundles do we have? Type of vascular bundles if you take, here I write radial bundles. Then what is meant by this? Guys, actually we have so many types of vascular bundles are there. Collateral vascular bundles, bicollateral vascular bundles, endarch vascular bundles, open vascular bundles and closed vascular bundles. So we have to discuss different type of vascular bundles. But here later we will discuss all types of vascular bundles, but here you remember, if any time the question arises, what type of vascular bundles we find in dicot root means, remember for that question the answer is radial vascular bundles. Guys, I repeat the question, what type of vascular bundles are found in root? It may be dicot root in the question or it may be monocot root in the question, but you have to remember radial vascular bundles, exarch condition, protoxylem towards periphery and metaxylem towards center. Here dicot root monocot difference is there. Dicot root means tetrarch, you have to remember. Monocot root means polyarch. This is nothing but completely when you take the root, when you cut it, when you see under microscope, this is what we have to see carefully. Now let me revise it once again. Now take the dicot root, okay, and see that outermost layer, actually total anatomy of the root or stem or leaf you take, mainly it is divided into 3 zones. How many zones? 3 zones. What are the 3 zones we see? First one is epidermis, cortex and stele. What is an epidermis? I will give you a quick revision of this. Look at here. Outermost barrel shaped structures is called epidermis. Epidermis is meant for protection. Now no intercellular spaces here, that you need to observe in the diagram. Now let us come down to this layer. You can see cortex. Now you can see parenchymatous cells with intercellular spaces. This is called cortex. Down to the cortex we find a stele part. Stele part includes endodermis and a vascular bundle. Endodermis, when you look at a thick waxy layer. Why it is thick waxy layer? Here you find depositions of some materials. What are they? Lignin and suberin depositions. Surrounding to this layer, lignin you find and suberin depositions are there. Because of this, it becomes a thick waxy layer and this is impermeable to water, meaning water cannot pass across the endodermis. Water cannot enter to endodermis. So we say this is impermeable to water. Such type of endodermis whose cells are impermeable to water are called Casparian strips or Casparian bands. So what are Casparian strips, what are Casparian bands means? You need to remember all these points. What are these points? First of all, Casparian strip is nothing but a root endodermis, not a stem endodermis, thick waxy layer because of depositions of lignin and suberin, impermeable to water. Such layer of cells is called Casparian strips or bands. Very important. So I kept 3 star marks, you need to stress this point. Coming to down part, vascular bundle. What you can see in the vascular bundle, a smaller cell which I drawn at the periphery, it is called protoxylem. Why, what exactly meant by proto here? Why it is called proto here? It is because a first formed xylem. Later, when a plant is growing, now you can see completely formed cell. A matured cell is called metaxylem. What is the meaning of meta? Here later formed xylem. Now you can see altogether 4 xylem strands. Alternatively you can see phloem. Centermost cells here, parenchymatous cells, is called pith or medulla. Now in between xylem and phloem what is present? If any time question arises, you need to answer, it is called conjunctive tissue. What do you call this? Conjunctive tissue. How do you define conjunctive tissue? A tissue between xylem and phloem is called conjunctive tissue. Now come back to note points. Now in note points, even try to mention about conjunctive tissue. Why conjunctive tissue is so important? Why do you think I wrote 3 star marks? Now you understood conjunctive tissue. So here it is very important. Why? Because it plays very important role in secondary growth. It plays very important role in secondary growth. You can write here secondary growth. What is secondary growth we will discuss later, but whenever question comes which plays an important role secondary growth means, you have to remember conjunctive tissue. What is conjunctive tissue means? Here you have to remember tissue between xylem and phloem. In the diagram you can see black colored cells. These black colored cells, where exactly they found? Between xylem and phloem. These black colored cells are called conjunctive tissue. Remember, conjunctive tissue plays an important role in secondary growth. Guys, generally if you take the plant, the young plant when it is growing, it is called primary growth. and when it becomes huge tree, at that time it's called secondary growth. Now this is completely what we call TS of dicot root. This is nothing but what we call TS of dicot root. What are the important note points? Radial vascular bundles, exarch, tetrarch, conjunctive tissue. These things you have to remember. Now let us have TS of monocot root. We discussed is dicot root. Now what we are going to discuss? Monocot root. I will quickly draw the diagram. What you don't need to worry, you have to draw the same diagram but with a small difference. So what we have to draw outermost layer we have discussed that as epidermis. Earlier what we have drawn is dicot root. Now what am I drawing? Monocot root. What am I drawing? Monocot root. Before one is a dicot root, right? Below the epidermis again we find parenchyma cells with intercellular spaces, and this is called as what? Cortex. Now this is called as what? Cortex. Now I can make it as here down to this we find what is called as endodermis. Here we can find what is called as endodermis. Below to this we find vascular bundle. Right. So what is the third zone we find? That is nothing but vascular bundle. Here we can find a vascular bundle. Now here is the difference. So concentrate all of you clearly. Now if you look at this diagram in this, see how many xylem strands I am drawing. So I am just making it as this bigger one and count how many I am drawing. So this is the cells, what am I drawing? So this is nothing but the cell. You can make 2 rows of cells, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all together I am drawing. Right. So how many strands I have drawn here? 6. So here we find 6 xylem strands. As usual, now if you look at the diagram, protoxylem and center one what you find is metaxylem. Yes or no? The here smaller one what we have drawn is protoxylem and the center one bigger one what we have drawn is metaxylem, and in the center we find pith or medulla, pith or medulla. Now alternative to this we find arrangement of phloem cells. Alternative to this is nothing but arrangement of phloem cells. Now these are nothing but what we call phloem cells. Alternatively, when I say here 6 xylem strands, automatically it is understood that how many phloem strands, because they are alternative to each other. So when we say here 6 xylem strands, automatically you have to take it gram that there will be occurrence of 6 phloem strands. So 6 phloem and 6 xylem. Centermost cells what we find here itself is called pith or medulla. Now in between, as you know, here we can draw conjunctive tissue. What you can draw here, it's nothing but a conjunctive tissue. So I am drawing with a different sketch, different color. Now in the monocot root also, in between xylem and phloem, what we find here is nothing but conjunctive tissue. Right. So this is what we call conjunctive tissue. So if you can make it, such type of arrangement what you can see here is, as 6 xylem strands are there, in case of monocot, the condition is called exarch or we call polyarch. What is exarch here? 6 xylem strands. Polyarch meaning here many xylem strands. Guys, what is X here? Xylem. What is X here? Xylem. 6 xylem strands, or we find many xylem strands. So, when you take the monocot root, here you find uppermost layer is called epidermis, down to the layer of cells is called cortex, still down you find steel part. Steel part you know, right? What is the upper zone? Same. Upper zone is epidermis and down zone is cortex. This is what is cortex. Outermost zone is epidermis. How many zones are present for any anatomy? We can take 3 zones. Upper zone is epidermis, middle zone is called cortex and innermost zone is called steel part. Now guys, what is the steel part includes here? Steel part includes endodermis and a vascular bundle. Now if you look at the vascular bundle here, how many xylem strands are there? 6. That's why we call exarch. Exarch means 6 xylem strands are present alternatively to 6 phloem strands. Alternatively to 6 phloem strands. Such type of condition is called exarch. Either you find 6, sometimes more than 6. If more than 6, then what do you call? Polyarch. Polyarch means many xylem strands. If you take the monocots, you may take monocot example grasses. Take the root of the grass, cut it and put it under microscope. Either you can find 6 or more than 6. So, 6 is present, the condition is called exarch. If many xylem strands are present, you call the condition as polyarch. Very, very important. Guys, see how many star marks I kept here. That's tell you that it's very important, right? Now, you know the smaller one is called protoxylem, first formed one, and middle one, bigger one is called, later formed one is called metaxylem, right? And pith is in the center, or pith we also call medulla here. And what else you find in the diagram? A tissue between xylem and phloem. This is xylem, this is phloem. What you find between xylem and phloem? It's called conjunctive tissue. So, you know that conjunctive tissue for dicot root. Similarly, we also find for monocot root. This is the complete TS of monocot root.